whatever that
Say also the bus
That's an extraordinary
fees.
number, so
FOIA
129 for.
The FOIA I got itemizes the numbers to $172,000, of which $139,000 is stipends. $33,000 has to be for the actual cost of sports and stuff. Is that right? Not on the FOIA, last 3 years of numbers, those are the actual numbers and a budget.
So those are the numbers that we.
But anyways, can you get back to your point you're trying to make?
Well, it just sounds like $129,000 is an extraordinary number for extracurricular activity after school.
Yeah, but if you break it down, I've coached before, it's very, very minimal because of the time and commitment that you have to it. So it's not even $10 an hour, it's more on the scale of maybe $3 to $5 an hour when you break it down. So at face value, it looks like it's a huge amount of money, but as I always say, mom and dad don't leave their best kids at home. They bring them to school because this is the safest place for kids to be, and we make sure they're involved in activities because we know it's good for their health. So to me, that's an investment. It's a good investment. It's a minimal cost at the end of the day, and you can pick and choose. If your kid doesn't want to participate in the sport, that's fine. There are other things that your kids can get involved in, such as hockey, lacrosse, that you can pay a fee for. But this is what we provide for our kids. It's a contractual obligation. In my opinion, based on many contracts that I've dealt with and negotiated, this is a very fair amount to pay for something that's really phenomenal for our kids.
Did that help answer your question, sir?
I just think those numbers could be crunched a lot lower. I think you keep them all and just you spend less on that.
I mean, if it
I don't know,
includes
seems
the
like a lot of money.
busing, I mean, we'd have to find out from Craig if it includes like the cost of the busing for transporting the teams
Right. No,
to,
I-
you know, like
I-
the other schools, because
right,
that one we have no
uniforms, that whole
control
thing,
over.
yeah, that's awesome.
And then the
Just a
teacher
lot.
stipends, I mean, that's the stipend is in the contract.
Well, but another way to look at it, and this is something that's brought to our attention, that gentleman in the back brought, I can't remember his name, he walked out. You know, he alluded to, you know, and I'm not saying that we do this, he alluded to outsourcing to another service. You can always charge a fee. You can always charge a fee for athletics. I mean, that's something that we haven't really discussed. So there is a user's fee. If you want to play in athletics, we can bring that number down.
I thought you said
But there's
we
going to be a
could.
cost associated with it. But here's the thing, right?
But you'd have it.
No,
but
but
it would
here's
be available.
Say again? Say again?
It would be available.
No, but wait.
If you outsourced it and got sponsorship money or whatever you have to do.
Well, yeah,
all, you know, art and music. I'm not saying that sports and art and music should be gone. I'm saying there's just $60,000 for an industrial arts program where only one classroom gets to use it is absurd. And I know that's a teacher's position, so you don't want to just arbitrarily say, well, you're out, but that's just a lot of money for one classroom.
So just to kind of clarify also on that, there's 2 teachers that are industrial arts, and currently they're teaching other classes also. And so that's where the big difference is. So for example, there's one teacher that teaches actually art, and there's another teacher that teaches
So that's
social
not
studies,
industrial arts.
ELA social studies. So that's where that is that program that's eliminating that position, but you're still going to have a social studies teacher, for example. So that's where
But I'm
that's
just
where that
saying,
number.
the sports and the clubs, there are no teachers' salaries involved, and so you're not
No,
getting rid of the salary
it's a rate
other than
for
the stipend.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Thank
Okay.
you, sir. John.
Well, I mean, my name is John Bulat. My question was back in, we've got teachers behind me, but the teacher's contract, I mean, you were saying before, the backbone to the school, and 100%, I don't disagree with that at all. But we're not in a unique situation right now. We're in a situation where the chances of the community as a whole approving and giving you the money, me personally, I don't see how it's going to happen. I see it happening in this room because people here have a vested interest. Outside of this room, I don't see it. The people who just showed up for tonight and see the board still going at each other the way it was tonight, how are people going to back you? How are people going to back a plan that you guys can't even support and figure out yourselves yet? You know, that's, I verbalized that to Dr. O'Malley before in the past, and I firmly, it's something that I'm sticking on my head. I'm a vote yes. My kids are here. I got one in preschool, one in kindergarten right now. I'm going to be here for the long term. But trying to sell this idea to people when the few people come in here and see this, it's kind of absurd. Back to the teacher's contract. So asking the teachers in the union, and this gentleman was just saying that you guys talked last night, so that's why question kind of up in the air right now, but everybody kind of needs to give a little bit. You also said that nobody discussed talking about the sports programs with individuals or people in there paying. How do you not discuss that yet?
Right.
That's something, that's money that's sitting there waiting for you guys. And I know parents all over here would say, absolutely, we would put more money into it. The 7-year-old is shooting, they're gonna help
Is it
out
actually
extra
that if you do
for
that,
not having schools in there.
Bring it reduced?
But it would still potentially bring.
I know it's
the
not
overall
$120,000 or whatever
down,
the
costs
case is,
down.
but it's something there. It's something there to help resolve this. This is a big hole. This is a big, and I'm not telling you guys anything that you don't know. You guys are dealing with this way more than I am, but there's a lot of money sitting out there for you guys, and the community's not gonna just put it in your pockets right now. I don't see it happening.
Thank you. Gus?
Just a
Thank you,
quick-
John.
What do you want?
Thank you, John. So,
Just to clarify, we did try and reopen the teachers' contract, right? And they said no.
no, it's not correct. We're in discussions with the Teachers Association.
Didn't we have these previous discussions or no?
We are in discussions with the Teachers Association.
So we're sitting down, we sat down with them today to start the
I
conversation.
was under the impression that we had already gone to the teachers' union, they said they didn't want to reopen.
No, the teachers are at the table having a discussion on.
I just want to clarify, because I thought we had already spoken and they didn't want to reopen, which is their right.
Right. no,
I don't
we're all
think the
working
contract was fair, but if I was a teacher and you gave me a ridiculous contract and you asked me to go back, there was no way in hell I'm signing off on it. I'm taking it and running with it, because I don't know the next time you guys are going to renege on something.
Right, so
That's wrong.
So the good thing is that.
Now,
they
the
came-
best way to go at it is to
both
threaten
came to the
them
table
right
today.
now that your friend's gonna get fired. That if you don't take the cut, we're gonna fire your friend.
I think you don't, what I think everybody seems to be missing
Well,
right
that's
now
exactly
about
what
the-
we're saying.
Hold on, just for the teacher's contract, when we negotiated that was negotiated in good faith between 3 board members who went to the table to discuss that with the Teachers Association. Now, we had unforeseen costs that hit us during the contract. So therefore, it did make it look like a bad contract. But in actuality, it was a fair contract, and it was negotiated in good faith. And you can't argue that. But there were unforeseen special ed costs. We had enrollment that went up. Factors that all contributed to that depleted our funds. And I think that's the key piece, is that we lost some funds due to some of these other unforeseen special ed costs going up and the rise in
Did
enrollment.
we pay fines for that contract?
No. So let me give you an example of the contract that you say that was ridiculous.
What was a 5-year contract?
So you let me finish, Gus. So the problem is that the community didn't really take the time to go through that contract and to really analyze it or even ask anyone what the numbers were. They just assumed that the 5-year contract, and then it's ridiculous. So let's get it in the open. What is ridiculous? So the first year of that 5-year contract, the raise of total benefit package, that includes insurance, supplies, everything all in, was 2.25%. So, do you think that's a ridiculous
Well,
number?
let's keep going, though. Don't stop there. What's the second
Let me
year?
ask you first, is that a ridiculous number?
2.25? No, that's a good
That's a
raise.
good number. Okay, years 2 and 3, all in, was 2.5%. So insurance, for example, last year they went up by 9 or 10%. It only cost the district 2.5%, because the teachers absorbed everything.
On top of the 2.25.
Right.
It was
Everything's
2.25,
compounded.
2.5.
Right. So it's right, every year.
Okay.
We're talking about year by year.
Okay.
Year 1 was 2.25, year 2 was 2.5, year 3 was 2.5 again. So 2.5 on total compensation with insurance and everything. Is that, you think that's a fair amount?
It's
Their
a,
insurance went up by,
No, this is everything. This is insurance, everything, all in. 2.5% for years 2 and 3. Years 4 and 5 is 3.5%. And so that's where the big reason why we had a 5-year contract, because a 2.25, a 2.5, a 2.5, a 3.5, and a 3.5, all in. That means insurance, when insurance went up by a lot, the teachers absorbed it. The teachers absorbed it. And so that's where they have a very fair contract. And the main reason why it was 5 years versus 3 is very simple, is that people do not want to give their time on those committees. It's a lot of work. And there's people that do not want to give their time, which means that I'm stuck doing it.
I don't believe that.
And no, I'm being serious. And so, it
That's
also
the reason
costs us.
why you did a 5-year
So
contract,
also
and
with
that's
the attorney.
embarrassing.
The attorney charges $205 an hour, which is very reasonable for an attorney. And so, but when you call the attorney and he comes to a meeting, and the meeting is 3 hours, and he drives an hour each way, you're paying for that. Why? Because that's the way it works. And so when you start to look at the cost that by having a contract negotiated every year, including my time and the teacher's time and the administration time, it becomes very expensive. So having a 5-year contract with a reasonable amount of increase was reasonable at that time. And so that's where, I would still agree today, even though what I made my suggestion, I agree that the teachers have a fair contract. Because I went through the numbers, I know the numbers. Here, when we did that contract, we had 71 certified teachers. 71. We have 81 today, 81 positions, 82 teachers because we're splitting one. So that's 10 more. That's more than 10% increase. Why? Because we had an increase of enrollment, Gus, of 14%.
But how much money do we have in reserve at the time of this contract? What was our financial
We had
situation?
about, I think about $9 or $10 million bucks, $9 million.
So we were under.
No, I'm sorry. We had 5 years ago, it was 9.8. 3 years ago, it was less than that. It was like 6 something. The other thing is that
You know what I consider a fair contract or a raise is when you have money to pay for it.
So the
If
other
we're
thing
already
also,
under-
we also had the mall coming on with the new expansion, right? And those numbers didn't come up because they bought it. Mariano's didn't get assessed the fair market value.
I understand.
But
You made your point, but let me make mine. If you didn't have the money to pay for it, you were already under. Your budget was down, right? We're supposed to be at 10.
we've been deficit spending since 2008.
Right, but we were.
That was 5 years before I was even on the board.
So they didn't look at it, I'm trying to say. They didn't look at it.
2% is nothing if you have it.
Right.
If you don't have it, you can't hand it out.
Signing a contract.
Signing a 5-year contract, not knowing what tomorrow's gonna bring, at 2.5, 2.5, 3.5, 3.5, and you don't have the money in the bank for it, is a ridiculous contract. You don't have the money to pay for it. That's the same thing we're talking about now. Fix today. Don't fix tomorrow. Keep our programs. This is what I've been preaching from day one, is take the minimum to keep what we have, to keep it afloat. I never referred to cutting anything. I said take what we need to keep our curriculum.
You said today to cut sports. Did I mishear you?
I'm sorry?
Did you say today to cut sports?
We got to this point. We got to this point. What are you going to cut? You're not going to cut math and science. But I wanted the board from the first meetings to ask for a minimum referendum to keep what we have, to keep it afloat for a year or two to figure it out. The board went after the village thinking we're a bunch of yo-yos, asked us for $61 million when you pissed away $10 million to build a new school in no man's land. Now the whole community's pissed off. If you guys aren't completely transparent and open, you're not gonna get the 1-2 either. I mean, I'll give it to you. I'm in. But if you guys don't open up and show everyone that you guys are speaking the truth and you guys aren't being pushed around by somebody, a 3-3 vote not to do something and we're still discussing it, sounds like somebody's pushing their weight or swaying something. If you guys voted on something, why are we discussing it? If it was voted down, why is it still being discussed?
To save the programs.
I'm sorry?
To save the programs, because arts and music.
Why did you guys vote on it? Why did you have a vote?
Thank you.
That's why we voted, that's why I voted no, but I wanted to
How
have.
can you say the
the-
same?
Well, then before you guys can rediscuss it again, then you need to have another vote. You guys could re-up it as many times you want until you get the vote to go your way.
That's what I.
But if you voted it and it voted down,
I hear you.
that's the end,
I hear
period.
you. Okay, so the action doesn't move forward, doesn't mean that we can't talk about it again and bring.
But you want to
another motion to the
allocate
table.
funds and time into something that you didn't pass.
Okay, so.
It shouldn't be discussed.
The problem is that if we have to cut all the programs, we would.
I
rather not cut the
understand,
programs. So
we could keep replaying this tape.
I was gonna say.
Right.
it'd be
You
the
could
same
keep
thing
saying it over and over,
again,
but you guys
and-
brought up something, you voted on it.